Today's date is January the 5th, 2023. I currently have the time as 2011 or 8:11 p.m. I'm Dale Strickland. I'm conducting an interview with Sergeant Rebecca Noles in reference to an internal investigation / review that I've been directed to conduct concerning the allegation of misconduct that occurred in November of 2022 at the supervisor retreat in Whitesburg, Georgia. For reference sake, the specific dates of the supervisor retreat training event was Monday, November the 14th, Tuesday, November the 15th, and Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. All right. Sergeant Noles, if you would start by telling me on the first day, that Monday, when you went to the banning meals where the retreat was, who you went with, how you got there, and then we'll continue from there about the time.
Lieutenant Pritchett drove. It was Robbie, me, and Lieutenant Peterson.
Okay. And you guys went in what vehicle?
Pritchett's truck.
Personal vehicle?
Personal vehicle.
Okay. About what time did you guys leave here in Lagrange? Right. And how was the meal paid for?
Individually.
Okay. So there was not a payment from one individual or a payment from the police department or linked to the city of Lagrange?
No, that was all checks.
Individual?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Was there alcohol consumed there?
Yes.
During the meal?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me, or did you consume alcohol there at the meal? Do you remember how much you consumed or what you consumed while you were there?
So Clower and I both were drinking cactus water or something to that effect.
Is that a mixed drink?
It's a mixed drink, like a vodka drink. I remember him drinking it last year's at the last year's supervisor retreat, and I remember tasting it, and it was good. So I told him I wanted that.
Okay.
So that's all I drank there.
Okay. And how many drinks would you say you had while you were there during that meal?
4 or 5.
4 or 5 drinks. Okay.
So during dinner or just after dinner, File started a group thread, and so people were, and it was the day that we covered like personality traits.
Okay.
And kind of how to manage based off of your personality.
So while you were at dinner,
so it was
you received a text
right
message.
at like 7:59.
Okay.
We all started getting text messages, and so I remember at dinner, and I'm drunk, so I like hone in on this because a comment was made about me. So it kind of stewed in the back of my mind, so that when I saw File and everybody started breaking off in their individual groups, and there was a lot of conversation and drunk people, so we were all loud. I couldn't hear all the conversations or anything, but based on this text message thread, when he sat down, he was like cool as a cucumber, as he always is, but I looked at him and like I stood up and like I do this number, like I have a bone to pick with you. I remember that very
What
vividly.
was the comment that you're referring to that made you stew?
So he sent one saying, okay, what did we all learn about ourselves that we already didn't know, or did we learn anything about ourselves we didn't already know? So people started, no, yes, whatever. So
who all was in that text thread group?
Kirby, Sloniker, File, Pritchett, Clower, Lore, Wheeler, Monica, Lee, Jeremy Jones, Butler, and Hall. And I don't even remember Butler, like almost in any of this. So I don't even think he even came out there. So people started, chiming in. Kirby made a comment, or Lee made a comment. Kirby said he'd learned a lot. He'll fill you in over some box wine because that's
Chairs around him.
typically. So I pop up and get his attention by doing this.
That's what you do,
like
right?
I was like, I got a bone to pick with you.
Right.
And I think he was like, something like that, like, what are you talking about kind of thing. And so, and me being drunk, and having no other seat around there, instead of just bringing mine, I did like a little kind of one of these. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? I remember being like, what does this even mean? Confounded by your confusion of me or whatever. I remember Justice note to call Bridget. At the time that this was going on, I remembered full well what was being said.
Mm-hmm.
I remember saying something like, we started talking about this Wendy, Clayton, Josh thing.
Between you and File, or were there other people involved in this conversation?
So he and I, because I'm literally in his face.
You're sitting on his lap.
Talking. Yes,
in
we're
a chair.
talking about this.
Okay.
Yes. And you know how when you're drunk, it's like you're in tunnel vision. Like you don't even.
You're not paying anybody any attention. Okay.
So I remember the topic of the conversation being all this seriousness, and I remember he said something about how I would never work. He swore I would never work for him. And I remember saying something like, "But have I disappointed you?
Mm-hmm.
Like have I been anything other than it's something along the lines of, but a good employee or doing my job," or it was something like that. And he was like, "No, you're right, you haven't. You haven't disappointed me," and all this other stuff. So I don't remember other specific statements. I remember saying that though, and I was being dead serious, even in my drunken stupor. Like I wanted to get to the bottom of it. Sidebar, through all this stuff, me and Clayton had another falling out, and like we were.
Like prior to this?
Like the day before.
The day, okay.
Where, feelings were hurt. Like we were sure this is over. Hell, I was drunk, so everything was loud. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
All right. So, you guys are out there for a couple hours, and you make it back to your room.
Yes.
You wake up the next morning.
Yes.
Is there anything odd that next morning when you wake up?
Odd? No.
Okay. I'll tell you where I'm going. I have, through the interviews, I've heard that there were rumors that you woke up and you were disrobed, or you didn't have any clothes on, or you were partially disrobed, and you didn't remember how that took place, don't remember taking your own clothes off. So that's where I'm going at.
Okay. I remember taking my shirt off as they were exiting the room, but I did make a comment. Like, I'm just trying to figure out who took my pants off, kind of thing. Like, because I didn't know if I did it, if they were did. Because I remember when I came to, I was crawling in the bed. Chris had took out my phone and watch charger, which is one built-in charging station. Plugged it up. He done had my phone on the charger. He had my Apple Watch on the charger. One of them was messing with the TV remote, like getting a TV on.
So you say one of them. There were two people in your room other than you.
Flower and Pritchett helped me get in there.
Okay.
So like they were like setting it all up so that I was like my stuff was charged. I had the TV on.
Who did you make that comment to when you came to that you're not sure how you got there with your pants off?
So the table we basically assigned ourselves to for the whole trip was Lore, Pritchett, Robbie Hall, Matt Fowler, and Karen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was over maybe that breakfast table when people were like laughing and like talking about the night's events, because Matt did not make it out there, Karen did not make it out there. Lore, I don't believe Lore came to the balcony or the deck. I don't think he did. So we were more or less like catching them up on just how rowdy it got, and I think I made some like chuckle, like I'm just trying to figure out how my pants came off or something to that effect. And I want to say that was the same conversation where maybe Robbie, because we talked about me crying. I was highly embarrassed. I don't like crying, and I sure as hell don't like telling people around here my story and my feelings. And so, just talking about just how embarrassed I was that it got to that point. I did not want it to get to that point specifically. And they're like, "Girl, you're all right. You're fine. You didn't do anything the rest of us hadn't done." And so
that was a conversation at the breakfast table the next morning.
Yeah, and so I want to say that was when Robbie said something about, how file, because we were, like I said, we were going into the night's events. I remember when I first walked in, I was like, anybody got a lap I can sit in? Like, I made a joke about it, and so, of course, the few of us who were in the know kind of laughed about it. So it was just lighthearted. Nothing serious, just not anything that several of us hadn't already done, because several of us have powwowed on our own occasions and gotten drunk. So
do you believe anything inappropriate happened to you when you went back to your room with regards to the clothes? You do not believe that?
No.
Okay.
So I made that comment. I want to say that's when Chris shared that he and Clower were helping me.
Did anybody during that conversation say, yes, I took your clothes off, or I helped you get into bed? Do you remember what that conversation was there?
Just Chris being like, yeah, we were helping you get in bed, and you wanted to be comfortable, So I think he said he took them off.
Your pants off?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I know I took my shirt off, but that was when they were leaving. Because the rooms there are old and dank smelling and hot, and so it was just, I think my AC didn't work, so I was burning up. I do remember that. So as they were walking out the door, I took off my shirt and threw it. That's why I looked at the clock, and I think it said 11:07, and I was like, oh, I could still get some sleep, I didn't want it to be like 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was like the gist of it. I know Clower has seen my butt before because we go to his lake all the time, and we're always drinking, and you jump in, swimsuit stuff. So I mean, I don't have. He and I have no attraction. Like, we're just brother, sister, like friends, been for all these years. So like, there's again no sexual. I don't feel that way toward Chris.
Okay.
I don't think he feels that way toward me. I trust these guys. My drunkenness, I have been, like, they have taken care of me in the past. I've slept at Clower's house, multiple times. So, I mean, these are people I have history with, so I'm most comfortable with.
Trust.
And I trust them.
Okay. So, that morning, you get up, you go to breakfast. About what time was that? Do you remember what time you guys were supposed to start?
Class started at 9, maybe, so I think I want to say Robbie said, oh yeah, there's pictures, and then he did like how Clower picked up his phone in the record and started like clicking the buttons, but walking past us like he was on the phone.
Oh.
And we even made a joke going into this, how girls, like females, don't be pulling your phones out, like, bashing at the girls because the girls are drama. Hell no. It's always the men you gotta watch out for.
So did you hear that Clower took a photograph? Is that what you heard?
I heard there was a string of photographs because he was passing us and steadily clicking the button.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Anybody else that you know of? Or
Mark had mentioned to me he had some, and that he deleted them because he didn't want to be involved in any drama. I don't know if that meant he took his own or if that meant Clower sent them to him. I don't know. So, like, as it relates to photos, videos, I have no idea who has them.
So you didn't personally see any photographs or videos or anything?
I have not seen any.
And the only time you heard that there were photographs were that Sergeant Clower took photographs, and then you talked personally with Mark, who said he took one, but he deleted it.
Yes. So, and that got brought up for Thanksgiving because I had heard that this IA was being launched. And
who did you hear that from?
So, Clayton told me, because that pissed him off, and thinking there's something going on between me and the way it was projected to him or explained to him is that something's going on between me and File, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So he approached me about it because Mark told him about it, and he won't tell me his other source, and I think it was Clower had maybe mentioned it, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Mark had been pulled into Rob's office, and whoever that other person was, I'm probably wrong, I could be wrong, but I thought it was Clower was pulled into the chief's office, or Rob's office, because the chief caught wind that there was videos and or pictures floating around.
So that was as far back as...
That was, we had Thanksgiving dinner as a shift. Mark came and grabbed a plate, so I knew by then. So I don't know what day, but I do know by then it was circulating about Rob pulling people in, and the chief being pissed off that there's videos and pictures and, what the hell happened and stuff like that. So I know people started like kind of talking to each other, like, what did you see? Well, what did you see? People coming to me, asking me what I knew, and I'm like, I don't remember all this. I remember up until a point of sitting in his lap and talking about work. That's what I remember. I don't remember any, bits and pieces until I got to my room. Like, I don't remember. And so I had heard, about the innuendos that, of him touching me and stuff like that. I have no recollection of this.
Okay.
And he's not treated me poorly or different since then.
Have you talked about the event with File at all?
No.
Okay.
No. Nobody has talked to me, which pissed me off because I'm the subject of a potential IA, and nobody talks to me about it.
Sure.
And so, I'm pissed off, I guess, the most because I know, and I don't want to throw him under the bus, but I know in everything that goes on around here, Mark Cavender runs his mouth to anybody and everybody back here. I've seen it. I've experienced it. He talks with his door open. He talks so loud you can hear it when his door is closed. I have enemies up here stemming from that windy thing. And so, in my could be paranoid mind, but know that it's not over for them. And if they can find a way to take me down, they will. I don't have a doubt in my mind that Amy Sweat and her, and Wendy, who's not even been here, but by way of Amy, Angie, and all them, I have no doubt in my mind that this is it's a door that they've put their foot through to bring me down yet again.
Okay.